Morning, everybody. Welcome back for another Thursday morning practice. So when you're ready, find your way to your seated position on your mat, and we'll start with some breathing practices. Doesn't matter how you cross your legs, just sit in any comfortable way. Let your hands rest in your lap, and then close your eyes, and for a little bit, redirect your focus to your breath. Maybe start out by drawing a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then just return to normal breathing patterns and pay attention to your inhaling and your exhaling. Well, today we'll do a specific alternate nostril pattern called Nadi Shodhana, and we'll use a breath retention at the top to help you clear your mind and to set the stage for all the postures to come. So begin by lifting your right hand to your face, and then place the tip of your index and middle finger directly between your eyebrows. As you focus there, breathe in deeply. Exhale all of your air. Then use your thumb to block the right nostril and breathe in through the left. Hold at the top and then exhale out the rights. Breathe in through the right all the way to the top. Hold again. Exhale out the lefts. With a breath retention every time. Breathe in left. Breathe out rights. Breathe in right. Breathe out lefts. Then again, breathe in left. Breathe out rights. Breathe in right. Breathe out left. And for now, drop your hand to your lap. Breathe all the way in. Breathe all the way out. And then breathing normally, rejoin your concentration to your breath. Join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Bring to mind someone that you would like to dedicate today's practice to. And send your person some good energy mentally. And when you're ready, then open your eyes. So we'll start with a few pre-stretches to get ready for the sun salutations. So place your right hand near the edge of your mat, and I'll do my left so it looks like we're doing the same thing. And then just take a gentle side bend in that direction. Reach your left arm all the way over your center line to the wall over there at the side. If you want a deeper stretch, you can always take your elbow closer to the ground, though it's a little early on for that, so if it's too much, just hang out with me with a totally straight arm instead. And use an inhale to come up to vertical. And to twist, take your left hand to your right knee, place your right hand behind you, and then just rotate your torso open to the right and gaze straight back to the wall behind. Release that twist and then extend your other arm out to the side. Left arm, unless you've already done that. Tilt your left shoulder close to the floor to bend your spine. And then reach your right arm all the way over your center line to the wall over there and stretch through your fingertips as you hold. There's an inhale to come back up to vertical and place your right hand on your left knee. Your left hand goes on the floor behind you. A gentle spinal twist to the left. Get straight backward over your shoulder so that you also get some opening in your neck. And now as you release that, then the cat-cow kriya. Come to your four-pointed kneeling stance with your shoulders directly above your wrists. Place your knees on the floor in any supportive way. And then round your back with your exhales. And curl your chin to your chest. Arch your spine with your inhales. And then continue on with that for a little bit. Make sure you really press your hands into the earth every time you drive down. And use that motion to really stretch the space between your shoulders. And of course, as usual, any freestyle combination of motions that you would like to take to get to some of the areas that have not been got so far. Now curl your toes under behind and lift your hips upward in the air for the down dog. And bend your knees very slightly and press your chest toward your thighs. And then just keep driving out through your hands as you let your chest drop a bit closer to the floor. Let your head drop down as well so you get a good solid shoulder extension to start things out. Then take a look forward. Step your left foot all the way to your thumbs and take your back knee to the ground. Place both hands on the earth inside of your foot. If you'd like to take an elbow or elbows to the ground, take them down. Otherwise, two straight arms is a great way to get things started. Let's get really, really heavy in your hips to open your hamstrings and your hip flexors. And we'll get deeper into both those muscle groups later on, but for now, press all the way back up and out. Step, if you will, back to the downward facing dog. Lunge your other foot all the way forward and take your rear knee down to the ground. Straight arms for option 1. And elbow to the floor for option 2. Or elbows to the floor for option 3 if that's your thing. Just find a stretch that feels good and breathe. All right, y'all, press all the way back up and out, and then move yourself back to the high plank position. One more prep stretch. Lower yourself all the way down to your stomach. Prop yourself up on your elbows for the Sphinx posture. Just press your elbows into the ground, lift up through the walls of your chest. Slide your shoulders away from the ears by pressing your elbows down. A few rounds of really slow inhale and exhale. For the moment, let your chest drop down a little bit, but not all the way, and plant your hands near the bottom rim of your ribs. Now use your back strength to lift your chest up just like you did in the Sphinx posture a few moments ago. Stretch back through your toes and flex your legs until your knees lift off the floor. And then from there, press to the up dog. Just drive down through your hands to come all the way up. Stretch back through your toes, pull your belly muscles up and lift upwards through your chin to stretch your throat. And then lift your hips up in the air for the downward facing dog. And pedal your legs this time to loosen up your hamstrings and calf. And as you pedal, rotate your chest left and rotate your chest right. And then press both heels closer to the floor beneath you there. Drive out through your hands and take a few rounds of deep and expansive breaths. No one always feels good this time of day. All right, the sun salutation, version A. Step or jump to your thumbs, and come upwards onto your fingertips, and then forward fold as you exhale. Use your inhale to sweep to standing with a straight spine, arms outwards and then upwards to the sky. Hands to your chest with your exhale. Inhale to sweep your arms upwards. Forward fold as you exhale. And lift to your fingers on the inhale. Chaturanga push-up with your exhale. A deep breath in for the up dog. And an exhale to rest in the downward facing dog. Another round of pedaling with rotation, one side to the other. Both heels down toward the floor now that your legs are loosened up a bit more. And then take a look forward, step or hop to the front of your mat. Come up to your fingers with your inhale. Then fold again with your exhale. Use your inhale to sweep all the way to standing. Hands to your chest with your exhale. Inhale to sweep them up. Forward fold as you breathe out. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Chaturanga push-up as you exhale. Up dog with a big breath in. Down dog stretch with your exhale. And again, some slow breaths in and some slow breaths out. Now, today, the classical sun salutation. Step or jump forward. Rise to your fingers, that's the same. Then fold as you exhale. This time, use an inhale to sweep up. Take a back bend by pressing your arms straight upwards and then backwards to the rear of the room that you're in. Forward fold with your exhale and take both hands down. Lift to your fingertips. Step your right foot all the way back. If it's comfortable, take your knee to the floor beneath. Let your hips heavily sink. Then use your next inhale to sweep your arms upwards and then backwards to the rear. Plant your hands on the floor. Step all the way back to the downward facing dog. And then to lunge on the other side, step that right foot all the way forward and take your left knee down to the ground. Once your hips are heavily sinking downwards, press your arms overhead as well as backwards to the rear. Plant your hands on the floor. Step forward. Use an inhale to lift to your fingers. Fold with your exhale. Standing back bend, use an inhale to come up. Sweep your arms overhead and then backward. Fold forward with your exhale. And up to your fingers on the inhale. Step your left foot all the way back. Knee to the ground beneath. Use an inhale to sweep your arms upwards, the back bend. Down dog with your exhale. Left foot forward for the same lunge, other side. Use an inhale to sweep your arms up. Different transition. Plant your hands. Step all the way back to the downward facing dog. Now, once you're there, come up to the tips of your toes. And to stretch your body sideways, move your hips and heels to your right and press your left hand down even harder till you get some stretch between your ribs. Use an inhale to come back up. Switch over for the same posture on the other side. And really press down through your right hand as your hips move over to the left. Come all the way back through center. Press your heels nearer to the floor. And then step your right foot all the way forward. Walk your hands across the ground to face the long edge of your mat. Turn your toes outwards. Bend your legs and let your hips sink near the floor. With a rounded spine, let your head hang near the earth and crisscross your arms down near the ground. And now stand up. Use an inhale to straighten your legs. Reach your arms outwards and then up. Bend and cross with your exhale. Let your torso hang down near the floor. Inhale to rise upwards. Exhale, bend. As you rise up, straighten your legs and squeeze your butt. Exhale. 2 more times. Inhale. Squeeze. Exhale. Inhale, rise up and squeeze. Exhale to bend. And keep your legs bent like you're sitting on a motorcycle seat. Reach your arms all the way up overhead. And interlace your hands behind your skull. And draw your elbows backward to broaden your chest. And then just bend your legs until it starts to burn. Slow, deep breaths. Reach your arms all the way out to the sides of the room. Sweep them upwards to the ceiling over your head. Straighten your legs. Take a huge and big step to get back to the front of your mat. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to your fingers. Exhale, chaturanga push-up. Up dog on your inhale. Down dog with an exhale. All right, completely different pose. Step your left foot forward. Turn your back heel to the floor for warrior 1. Use an inhale to sweep your arms outwards, hand upwards. Now once you're there, wrap your left arm under the right for the eagle spines. Intertwine your forearms or give yourself a hug. And then press your elbows away from your body. Lift them upward in the air and take at least a slight back bend as you hold the posture. Use an inhale to sweep your arms outwards and upwards. Chaturanga push-up with your exhale. The up dog with an inhale. Down dog with your exhale. Right foot forward. Left heel down. Inhale up for warrior 1. Then wrap your left arm under the right. Give yourself a bear hug or intertwine. Now once you've found that, press your elbows away from the body, lift them up a little higher, and take at least a slight degree of back bend as you hold. And use an inhale to sweep your arms outwards and then upwards. Chaturanga push-up with your exhale. The up dog with an inhale. Then the down dog stretch with your exhale. Use it to rest, and while there, deepen your breath. Whenever your mind wanders, redirect to your body and your breathing. All right, step or jump up near-ish the front of your mat. Come up to your fingers. And then bend both of your legs. Come up to the chair with an inhale with arms lifted. This time, reach your arms behind your back. Grab your wrists, your forearms, or if you're able, reverse a prayer behind your back to open up your chest. Squeeze your shoulders back in together. Lift your heart up a little bit so you're getting the slightest back bend. With your eyes locked on something solid, consider lifting to your tiptoes as you hold. That whole tiptoe thing is too much. You feel free to do it with your heels on the floor. And for now, take your heels back down to the earth. Straighten your legs. Reach your arms all the way out to the sides and up. Join your hands at your chest with an exhale. For a moment, close your eyes and focus on deepening your breath. Slow inhales and slow exhales. And then opening up your eyes, squat down upon your heels straight away and move your knees all the way out to your sides. Plant your hands on the floor about shoulders distance wide for the crow, and then scoot your legs onto your uppermost arms. If you'd like to modify, lean a little weight into your hands. If you want to go further, lift your hips up and take one foot off of the floor. If that's going pretty well, lift both feet off of the floor and just hover there. And then take your feet all the way back down to the earth. And once you've done so, step all the way back to the downward facing dog. Right foot forward, turn your left heel to the ground. Then use an inhale to come all the way up to warrior two. Straighten your leg completely. Once you've done that, turn your right hand up to face the ceiling and side bend toward your bat leg. This is the reversed warrior with two straight legs. Now reach and stretch and extend through your right fingertips to open up lots of space in your ribs. Once you've hit full depth in the side bend, then bend your right leg to fully reverse the warrior. And keep breathing deep as you hold the stretch. Use an inhale to come up. From there, lean forward and take your right fingertips to the floor just inside of your foot. Reach your left arm up to the ceiling and just rotate your entire torso open to the edge for now. Use your next inhale to spiral up to warrior two. Straighten your leg, turn your feet to face the side of your mat. And repeat warrior two with your left foot facing the back. Left hand faces up. Straighten out your leg initially, and then reverse the warrior with two straight legs initially. Just use that to get a slightly deeper side bending. As you continue reaching through your fingertips, bend your left leg to deepen things in the base just slightly. Come all the way back up. Lean forward and take your left fingertips to the floor inside of your foot. Reach your right arm all the way upwards in the air. And twist your whole entire torso open to the edge for a bit. And then a big breath in to come back to warrior two. Straighten your leg and turn your feet to face sideways. Take a really big step to get back to the front of your mat. And then an inhale to sweep both arms up. Forward fold as you exhale. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Chaturanga push-up with your exhale. Up dog with an inhale. Down dog with an exhale. Step your right foot forward. Turn your back heel to the ground. Use an inhale to come up to warrior one. Then join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Rotating to your right, cross your left elbow over your leg, and then press your hands together to rotate your spine open to the side. Releasing the twist, take both hands down to the floor just ahead of your foot. For a completely different posture, step onto your right leg, lift the back one all the way upward into the air. As you pause there, turn your fingertips sideways. Now rotate your chest to the right, reach your right arm straight upwards to the ceiling, and just lift your back leg upwards as high as you can as you continue to twist. And place both hands on the floor, stack your left foot next to the right foot, come up to your fingertips, move your hands to your waist, then just stand all the way up. Once you've got to vertical, draw your right knee towards your chest, either grab it or your big toe, stand tall and pull your knee higher. Swivel your leg out to the right. If you want to work on extending the leg a little bit, go for it, or you can straighten it out altogether. Just the same, you could always maintain a bent knee. And then drop your foot all the way back down to the floor beneath. All that same stuff on the other side. Use an inhale to sweep your arms up initially. Forward fold with your exhale. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Chaturanga push-up with your exhale. Up dog with an inhale. Down dog with an exhale. Left foot forward. Back heel to the floor and arms up with your inhale. Then join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Twist left, hook your elbow completely over the leg. Press your hands together to twist some of the tension in your back muscles away. And then release the twist so that you can place your hands on the floor. Now, sometimes it helps to balance if you spin your fingers sideways. Step onto your leg, straighten it, and lift the back one very high. Now, with your left hand still on the floor, rotate right, sweep your right arm straight up in the air. At the same time, just lift your back leg as high upwards as possible. And take both your hands to the floor, stack one foot next to the other, and come up to your fingertips. Move your hands back to your waist. Stand all the way up and pause at vertical. Now draw your left knee all the way up to your chest. Options are grabbing your knee or your big toe if you can reach it. But take a moment to get tall again in case that made you slouch, and take your knee up a little higher. Left knee out to the left, a little bit of extension, or a fully extended leg if that's your preference. And just keep breathing deep. And drop your foot all the way back down to the floor. Join your hands in a prayer at your chest. Use an inhale to sweep your arms up. And fold forward with your exhale. To your fingers on the inhale. Chaturanga push-up with your exhale. Up dog as you breathe in. Down dog stretch as you exhale. A few more rounds of slow breath. And then for now, take your knees to the floor. Roll backward to a seated position. And once you've got that far, then just roll all the way down to lay down on your back. And now initially scoot your feet all the way together and bend your legs so you can put your feet flat on the floor. Bend your arms to 90 degrees. Press your elbows into the earth so you can squeeze your shoulder blades closer to your spine. Now pretend you were squeezing a notebook between your knees and squeeze it tight. Next time you inhale, lift your hips all the way upwards in the air. With the hips still up, move your knees apart until the notebook drops. Then take your knees all the way back together and take your hips all the way back down to the floor. Now again, squeeze that imaginary notebook. Lift your hips upward off of the earth and squeeze your butt. At the top, separate your knees to the sides of your mat, roll onto the blade edges of your feet. Take your knees all the way back together and your hips back down. And then on your own, repeat. Keep on going at your own rate of speed. Squeeze your knees together as your hips rise. Separate them and take them together at the top. Drop back down and carry on. Lots of squeeze every time your hips rise. Keep on breathing throughout. In addition to squeezing your knees, try to squeeze your butt muscles on the way to the top. A few more rounds of those. And then again, all the way up to the top. And from there, all the way back down to the floor. Draw your knees toward your chest. Rock all the way up. Once you've done so, Hop back to the high push-up position, and then lower down to your stomach. Now back to where we began. Prop yourself up on your elbows so you resemble a sphinx. Press your elbows down into the floor and lift your collarbones. And this time, since you're more thoroughly warmed up, you want to take a deeper lift your elbows, slide your shoulders down, and take the slightly deeper form of the cobra pose. Stretch back through your toes and lift upwards through your collarbones. If your arms are straight, let your chest shift forward a little bit to put most of the stretch in the very middle section of your spine. And then roll yourself all the way down. Plant your hands down near the bottom rim of your ribs. Lift your collarbones up until you can't lift any higher. And just keep your body like that. Press down through your hands for the up dog. And lift your hips back upwards into the air for the down dog stretch. Lift up to your tiptoes. Move your hips and heels right. Press down through your left hand harder to stretch your side. Sweep your hips all the way back up. Take them over for the same posture on the other side. Now roll to a plank position. Lower yourself all the way down to your stomach. This time round, for the bow, lift your chest, bend your legs, reach back and attempt to grab your feet, or alternatively, let your hands rest on the floor near your side. Now lean some way forward toward your chest and press your feet upwards into the air. And then just look forward to lift your head and keep breathing as you hold that stretch. All the way back down to the floor. From that position, then press up to the four-pointed kneeling stance like the cat-cow kriya. Walk your hands back and come all the way up for the camel's pose. The knees are separated by hip distance. If you like to, curl your toes under and back. And starting out with your hands on your hips, drive your knees into the floor. As you root down through there, lift up to the base of your ribs. If you wish to reach back to grab your heels, feel free to rock back from your knee joint for the grab. If that doesn't work for you, just keep your hands on the waist. If you did get the grab, press your knees down, lift up to the base of your ribs, and stretch everything from belly button to chin. Use an inhale to come all the way up. Crisscross your ankles if it's comfortable. If it works for your knees, roll backward to a seated position and extend both legs forward to the front. Otherwise, sit down any way you like and roll all the way down your back to recline. Then bend your legs and plant your feet flat on the floor. Now this time, find a slightly longer stance. Reach forward with your fingertips and try to touch your middle fingers to your heels. Pressing your shoulder blades down into the floor, lift your hips upwards into the air. And if you want to modify with the bridge, just roll side to side and squeeze your shoulders further under. Otherwise, plant your hands near either side of your head, preparing for the wheel. Take attention to the bottom rim of your ribs. Pretend you have ropes connecting that portion of your ribs to the ceiling. And as you drive down through your hands and press through your feet, imagine those ropes reeling the base of your ribs all the way upwards toward the ceiling. A few rounds of deep breaths once there. And then all the way back down to the floor beneath. Once you've gotten to that, let your knees wave from one side to the other side. Reach both of your arms completely out to the edges of the glass. Draw your knees toward your chest. Drop them over to the right. If you want a slightly deeper stretch, you can try straightening your legs and grabbing the edge of your feet. Though this one can also, of course, be done with bent knees instead. Now use an inhale to come back through center. Drop your knees over for the same on the other side. If you want to work on the straight-legged option, elongate. Try to grab the edge of your feet. Otherwise, just go ahead, bend your knees as you twist over to the side. Sweep them all the way back up. And some old school bicycles. Either touch your fingers to the side of your head or interlace your hands behind your skull. Lift your feet off the floor with your legs bent, and then belly crunch up to the front. Straighten your right leg. Dip your right elbow toward left inner knee, and then pedaling. Alternate back and forth between both sides. Keep your shoulders and chest lifted throughout. Choose your own rate of speed, and for just a little while longer, maintain the pedaling. Keep on going, breathing deep throughout. And then for now, come all the way back down to the ground. All right, reclining pigeon. Cross your right ankle over your left leg in a figure 4 shape. Thread the needle with your right arm. Reach through and grab a hold of your left leg near your hamstrings or the shin. Then recline backward to stretch your hip. Attempt to flatten the bony parts of your pelvis to the floor. And at the same time, press your right knee away from the chest. Releasing that, cross your other ankle over. Thread the needle with your left arm. And grab your hamstrings or your shin, whichever you feel best. Rock back. And for the next few moments, flatten the back of your pelvis to the floor and press your left knee away from your chest. And now release that one. Now, a dead bug pose can feel a little ridiculous, so if you're not into the full thing, grab your knees and just draw your knees gently toward your armpits. Now, if you're into the full extravaganza, it's an amazing hamstring stretch. Reach up there and grab your feet. Try to center your ankles just above your knees. And as you lay down on the floor, just pull down on your feet. In addition to stretching your hamstrings, you also get opening in your inner thigh muscles. And both of those things, when combined, lead to a deeper pigeon pose. So let go of your feet and then rock all the way up. Now, for the moment, face the long edge of your mat with your legs straddled way out to your sides. Now, I'm going to do the opposite image since I'm facing the camera, so it looks like we're doing the same thing. Draw your left foot toward your right inner thigh. I'll curl my right leg in. And then initially, just rotate your torso toward your left leg. Lean forward and take your elbows to the floor near either side of your knee. If your hips are feeling a bit tight today, hold that variation. If you want to go deeper, spin your right toes around and down. Prop up a little bit, slide your left leg even wider, your right leg further back, and then just lean completely forward onto your elbows for the full pigeon stretch. Roll all the way over onto your hip. Once you've done so, straddle both of your legs completely out to your sides again. Draw your right foot toward your left inner thigh. Rotate toward your leg, or lean over and take your elbows down to the floor beneath. Now, that stretch is typically the best if your hips are feeling pretty tight. And if you want a deeper stretch, just spin to the pigeon. Roll your left leg down, your right leg out to the side. Scoot your rear leg back a little bit more, and then fold forward till both elbows rest on the floor. Rolling all the way over onto your hip. Come back to the full straddle facing the edge of your mat. Then grab the flesh of your buttocks and roll it backward out of the way a little bit. Now press your hip creases down into the ground, and then just forward lean until you get some resistance. Walk your hands all the way out and forward so you have some extra support. You can stay there with straight arms. If you'd like to take your elbows to the floor, go for it. Possible to lay all the way down on the floor, but if you're already getting enough stretch higher up, just stay there like me and keep on breathing. Just a few more seconds there. All right, walk your hands back, spin around to face the front of your mat. And when you're ready, roll all the way down to lay down on the ground. Once you are laying down, reach your arms all the way out to your sides and draw your knees towards your chest. Drop your knees over to the right and rotate your gaze to the left side. Reclining spinal twist. Sweep your knees all the way back up and then take them over for the same posture on the other side. Reach long through your fingertips so you feel some broadening and some opening in your chest. And then sweep your knees back up. And when you're ready, find your way to a reclining position on the mat for the corpse pose. Make any final adjustments necessary until your body is comfortable enough to be still. So last weekend, I found myself traipsing up an icy mountain in New Hampshire with my friend Arlen, who was along on the trip with me. Now, once per year, I test my cold acclimation skills and my meditation practice by using Tibetan meditation to hike to the top of a mountain shirtless on a really cold day. Now, that day, as Arlen and I walked along, the base temperature was around 18 degrees. And because I've been training all year, as long as I kept moving, it was actually pretty easy to keep going without shivering. Now, nevertheless, as we moved up the mountain and came closer to the tree line, the temperature of the mountain dropped substantially. I think it dropped down to around 3 degrees above, and there were some pretty fast winds, so it felt a lot chillier. As we worked our way up the mountain, Arlen was helping me document the experience. He's a really amazing camera operator, and he was taking some fun photographs and some other video footage that we could use for other projects. Now, we actually got to the top of the clearing. We took a bunch of pictures and a bunch of video footage up there, and then I looked up the mountain and noticed that we probably had another 30 minutes to go to get to the peak. And the rest of the hike was definitely daunting in comparison to what we'd done. Rather than winding through forested area, there were lots of steep, rocky outcroppings. Everything was encased in this big layer of ice. There were whipping winds everywhere, and it looked like it was going to be a pretty tough climb. Now, at that point, once I started to move on, Arlen stopped me and he said, David, I think I feel really uncomfortable with this hike. I don't think that I can go on. So I think I need to stay here. And in fact, we've got a lot of video footage for today. So I wonder if we could just maybe turn back. At that point, I was really focused and concentrated, and I set the intention to get up to the top of the mountain. And I told some other people that that was my goal for the day. So I just told Arlen that I completely understood and that he would be all right and that I was going to finish the hike. And really, without saying too terribly much more, I left him there and I continued on my way. Now, as I kept hiking up the mountain, I got to the space where there was this really steep chute. Most of the mountain I could walk with just my feet, but in that particular section, I had to lean forward into the mountain to prevent toppling backward. Other people had carved out a little tunnel with their boots, and the ice had formed there, so it was actually pretty slippery. So as I continued to climb up, I had to put my hands in the snow, and I had to basically climb with my hands and feet to make it all the way up to the top. Now, when I got to the top, I emerged with my hands and elbows red all the way up, and I looked like a lobster in the lower portion of my arms. And I walked up to the top of the mountain completely elated. I was really, really happy up there, and I was able to take in the views and see for miles and miles. I felt really, really accomplished. And when I got up there, Arlen was no longer with me, and I wanted to get some footage at the top of the mountain, so I pulled out my cell phone. And the moment that I did, my heart actually dropped. I noted that Arlen had actually called me 3 times on my way up the mountain, and he'd also texted a couple times. Now, I read one of his text messages, and he said, "David, I'm really afraid down here. I'm worried that you're not going to know how to get back to me. I have no idea how to get back down the mountain, so please don't take too terribly long." And in that moment, I realized that my supposed success was actually a really big failure, and perhaps one of the biggest failures of my year. See, many years ago, when I first started teaching yoga, I was really obsessed with being as good at it as I could be. So I set all these lofty professional goals. I pursued them one by one, and I ticked a lot of different things off of the list. Now, unfortunately, there was a human cost to that because I was so focused on accomplishing a particular goal without following the values of connecting to the other people in my life while I pursued those goals. I lost a lot of friends, and I even disrupted a marriage as a consequence of that. Now, I realized at that point how much all those things had cost me. So, a while back, I set a really strong intention to do better. I set the intention to be a good communicator. I set the intention to be more empathetic in life. And I set the intention to put friends above my own personal goals. Now, in that respect, despite the fact that I actually accomplished my goal of making it to the top of the mountain, I absolutely failed because I failed to actually accomplish the goal of aligning with my personal values. And when I got to the top, that absolutely stung. And I realized that I definitely have some more work to do moving forward into the next year. Now, having said that, I think there's a really great meditation practice that I'm going to be applying myself to on the regular because I think it's very helpful. We're all here to practice together, and I definitely need to practice with this, so I'll do it myself today. And with the possibility that you might find it useful in some way as well, I'll also lead you through the practice. It's called Tonglen, or the exchange of self and other. It's an amazing practice because it can help to cultivate more empathy, a deeper connection to others, and a wonderful connection to friends and other people too. So for now, if you will, just let everything get really still and quiet. And this one is visualization based, so let your eyes close completely. And then bring to mind someone in your life who needs some positive energy. And it can really be anyone, anywhere. It can be someone from your past, even someone departed if you wish to practice for them. It can be someone that you interact with all the time. They can be living somewhere else in the world. Distance or time are no object, so just bring some person to mind who needs some positivity. Now, in this practice, you're going to put yourself into that person's shoes. So the next time you exhale, send all of your love and compassion to that person and imagine them receiving happiness and healing. But then as you breathe in, imagine breathing that person's pain and suffering into your body in a thick cloud of smoke. Transform that energy in the center of your chest and then send love and compassion with your exhales. Imagine your breath streaming to them, healing them as your breath wraps around their body. As you inhale, draw their pain and suffering into you. Actually allow yourself to feel what they're feeling. Transform it in the center of your chest and send love and compassion with your exhales. Now, for a little while longer, just continue on with that over and over again. If the visualizations aren't perfect, that's okay. You just do the best that you can do. Now, there are four different recipients of this practice in total. And the next one is somebody you don't like. So bring to mind somebody who annoys you just a little. Best to not start with your biggest enemy. And then do the same practice. Send your love and your compassion with your exhales. And imagine that person receiving all the happiness in the world and healing if it's necessary. And as you breathe in, draw that person's pain and suffering into your body. Feel what they feel. Transform it in the center of your chest and send your love and compassion with your exhales. And again, the visualizations needn't be perfect. Just do your best. If you feel resistance, that's normal. Just keep breathing through the resistance. The next object is a stranger, so bring to mind someone you don't know at all. Some person perhaps you see on the street all the time, or somebody from work, or maybe a class that you've gone to. Anybody at all. I think everybody struggles and everybody's in need of some healing. So send your love and compassion to that person too, despite the fact that you don't know. As that energy touches them, imagine them receiving happiness, wholeness, and healing. As you breathe in, breathe all their pain and suffering into your body. You don't even need to know what it is. Just draw that energy into you and feel some of what you think they might be feeling. With your exhale, send your love and your compassion. On your inhales, draw that billowing cloud of smoke into your chest and transform it. And then send your love and compassion again. And then one more mental switch. Bring to mind every life form on the planet. Human beings are the most relatable, so start out with all of them. And then expand your view a little bit by thinking of all the members of the various animal kingdoms. Consider the birds, all the different beings that populate the waters and the seas, reptiles and insects. And then do the same practice for all of them. Send your love and your compassion with your exhales. Imagine healing and happiness everywhere. As you breathe in, breathe their pain and suffering deep into the center of your heart. Transform it and send your exhales out in the form of love and compassion. And for the next few moments, relax your mind and just redirect all of your focus to your normal breath. And calm your mind by just observing your inhales and your exhales. So, in that way, it's said that we should gradually train in the cultivation of more empathy and more compassion and love for the people in our lives. As I mentioned, I have some work to do in that respect, so I'll be trying to buckle down on that practice over the course of the next year. Now, the effects of that remain to be seen, but it's my hope that next year, rather than summiting a mountain, I'll be able to summit the peak of greater communication, more empathy for the people that I care about, and putting friendship ahead of goals. I think that if I can pursue those particular values, I think that'll be something I think good. Now, if you have any work to do in that respect as well, you should consider that practice. It's been around for a long time. I think it can be very helpful for us all. So you might consider practicing it as much as possible too. For now, if you will, just redirect awareness to your whole body. And whenever you feel ready, then let yourself roll over to one side. With both eyes closed, come back to a seated and cross-legged posture of some type. And join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Remember the person that you dedicated all this effort to. Neither pray for or wish for their happiness and their health. Take a moment to be grateful for the gift of another day. And if you wish, repeat after me. May all sentient beings everywhere experience peace.